Let's now move on to one of the other features on the card, race 8, the Kowloon Cricket Club Centenary Cup. It's quite a rare race here in Hong Kong, 2,200 metres at Sha Tin. Class 2, of course, Exultant and Riven, all being equal, be running on Champions Day at the end of the month. Prawn Baba, Sergeant Titanium. We go down to Doyenne, who's had quite big gaps between his races. Hapala Baby, a win at 2 back, of course, ran a track record earlier on this season at the Valley. Savvy 6 is having his 4th start after a 9th in the Derby behind Ping Ai Star. Consort's got no weight, and neither does Grand Chancellor. He'll be coming in 17 pound lighter than he was last start, when he, of course, was a winner. All right, let's have a look at the speed map here. We're going to move on to, of course, our feature, race 8. John, this is how they'll potentially come out of the gates. 2,200 metres does make it a little bit longer to the first turn.
Does, yeah, but Packing Dragon, he's a regular leader over at Happy Valley, and I'm pretty sure he'll be doing something similar again. Sergeant Titanium's had quite a bit of success this season, just being towards the head of affairs, so I expect him to be there too. Riven ran really well last time. He's definitely coming to something like his Australian form here in Hong Kong. And this fellow, Grand Chancellor, is interesting as well. I think he's definitely coming to something more like his best form, and maybe he might be a bit further forward in the run than we've got him mapped there. We'll see. If he goes forward with his lightweight, that might be a way for him to go. But it's an interesting race. Obviously, Exultant is the main form angle, but he's got to give a lot of weight to some decent horses. He does, and we know his pattern, Paul. He'll be just sitting back at the tail, waiting for the race to unfold.
Yeah, 2,200 looks interesting for him, indeed. But here he is as well. Let's have a look at him now. He's coming out of the Derby, no problems. He's had a couple of good gallops since then from the Tony Cruz barn, so he hasn't missed any work, and he's been going nicely enough, so he looks well placed in this race, as does Riven. Riven's the one closest to us, with Tommy Berry aboard, just working with a partner horse. You can see he stretches out really nicely, and 2,200 metres obviously is going to suit him as well, although Exultant did beat him fair and square in the Derby. This is now a handicap, so he's going to carry a pound more. What do you do with this horse? Consort, he's a bit of a head case, really. Like you can see, pulling and reefing. 2,000 metres has been his best distances here, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes over 2,200. And Joe Moreira aboard.
No doubt he's an interesting runner, isn't he? Consort, I'm actually going to probably end up siding with him. But let's hear from Tommy Berry regarding Riven, who did run a very creditable race in the Derby.
Riven Tommy, he's a horse who was an expensive purchase from Australia. It looks like he's taken a few runs to get going, but are we starting to see him near his best now?
Yeah, I think so. Look, when he was in Australia, he was trained by Kieran Maher. Obviously, he was working out at out on sand dunes and out at the beach and stuff like that. And when I saw him in Queensland and he won the Derby there, he was very light looking, so he was quite fit. And over here, obviously, you can't work your horses as hard, and it takes a little bit longer to get them fit, especially for colts. So it has taken him a long time to get fit. I think you saw that in the Derby. He looked in good shape there, and John hasn't missed him since then. So he's had good grounding for the 2,200 on the weekend. I think that's going to suit him. He'll be able to roll forward and put himself into the race. And, it's just whether Tony Cruz's horse has a better turn of foot than him over this trip still.
You mentioned that he's a colt. What's his attitude like?
His attitude's better now that he's getting more mileage into his legs. Early on in his preparation, he still wanted to pull quite a bit and carry on going on and off the track. So now he's getting a bit more work under his belt, and he's had a few more runs. His attitude's getting better. So as long as he keeps it like that, he might be able to keep them.
And a ride here for John Moore as well too. You're obviously not a stable jockey there anymore, but still a good working relationship between the two of you. Yeah,
no, great. John and I are good friends, and I've got a few rides coming up for him, so it's good. Hopefully we can keep our association going. We've had great times in the past. Obviously not a great season this season, but over the last 5 years we've had, I think, 10 Group 1 wins together. So it's nice to see all that hasn't gone to waste.
Good chat there from Edward with Tommy Berry. Let's push on now to the Derby. And, of course, Ping Ai Star trialled Saturday morning in preparation for the QE2. A very similar run towards the big race at the end of the month as it was in the Derby. Excluding him out of this because he's not running. Exultant, Riven, both ran well. And Savvy 6, we've all mentioned it, he's very unattractive. I don't want to bring up Doug Chalmers' name again, but he is in the way he races, but he does cover the ground well.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's a bit naughty in his preparation sometimes prior to the race. Exultant really came home very strongly here. He had no sort of a run whatsoever. All his best form so far in Hong Kong has been 2,000 plus. Haven't got him on top, but this will be a lovely prep for the QE2, where, of course, he won't have to give weight.
Yeah, I've got him on top. I just think he came from behind Riven and beat him fair and square there. But they're both real stayers, but I think Exultant by Teofilo can beat him.
I tipped him in the Derby, Exultant. I wasn't disappointed, but I'll be tipping with a horse that is hard to follow with a lot of confidence. And there's his name down there, just underneath Grand Chancellor, Consort. He's been an underachiever. It's clearly fair to say that since arriving from the Northern Hemisphere. But gee, there's been some exciting runs from him.
And he didn't get any luck at all in this race. I'm a bit like you. I mean, I haven't a huge amount of time for the horse, certainly in the early part of his career, but he's absolutely thundered home here once he's finally got out. Moreira's decided to stick with the ship. Grand Chancellor's gone on to win the race. All Consort's best runs in Hong Kong have been 2,000. Plus, of course, he was placed in a Derby a couple of years ago. So I think with his lightweight, he's going to be there or thereabouts.
Prawn Barbar is a horse that's tried the course and distance on one occasion in the past. Packing Dragon, Paul. What a money spinner he's been. He's won 8 races. All of them have been at the Valley, but with Victor Wong going on, he's going to get a lighter weight here.
He'll give you a good sight. He'll be leading, and I think he'll put that extra bit of pace in Victor Wong into this race. I know we said slow, but with Packing Dragon, he does like to grind his opposition into the ground. So I think he might just keep them rolling along in front. He'll be there for a long period of the race.
What about Hapalar Baby, John? He broke the track record earlier on in the season at the Valley.
I was a bit disappointed with him last time. I thought he'd run a little bit better than he did, so he goes into the fridge as far as today's concerned. But maybe, yeah, down in grade, I think he'd have a chance.
That race I speak of was, of course, at the Valley over 2,200, which is the case here, Paul.
Yeah, Exultant on top here for me. He came behind Riven and beat him fair and square in the Derby. They're the two class horses coming out of the Derby. I think they're going to fight it out. 1 to beat 3. Grand Chancellor comes in nicely with a light weight, and it was a good win from him. And he won't be too far on the pace. And I put Consort in for 4th. I think he'll get back. He'll do what he normally does. Rock his head around, run on for 4th. But you have to take unders on him for sure. 1, 3, 10 and 9. But I'll be playing the exotics 1, 3, 10.
I'm going to give Consort a chance, possibly against my better judgment, but it was an eye-catching run last time out. Moreira might be able to get a tune out of him this time. $3.90 is not a great price. Maybe he might drift a little bit in the lead-up to the race. We'll see. Grand Chancellor with Matthew Poon taking the £5 off is nicely weighted as far as his last race goes, which, of course, was a victory that we saw there, so I'll give him another chance of running well. Exultant's the best horse in the race. He's got to carry all the weight. I still think he's going to be there or thereabouts. And Riven, he's just improving nicely. He's a lovely stamp of a horse as well. I think the pair of them should get nice tune-up runs for later on in the month.
All right, so that is the feature of the afternoon, race number 8. We've still got 3 more to look at. We'll do that on the other side of this break.